So Richard Dawkins and Elon Musk have caused quite a stir recently. In the past couple of months, they have both described themselves as culturally Christian, despite not being believing Christians. And they didn't really just say this as a neutral fact. They talked about how they were glad to have lived and to live in a Christian society. Now, this has produced a wide range of reactions, especially among many Christians. And it's been interesting. Some have even had a hint of maybe despising the fact that someone like a Richard Dawkins would consider themselves culturally Christian. So what should we think about all of this? A couple points. First, I think it's good to recognize the good in it. Both of them are recognizing the goodness of a Christian culture as a culture that they want to live in. Jesus gives us very clear criterion about which we are to judge something. So when he's talking to his disciples about true and false prophets, he says, by their fruits we will know them. Just so every good tree bears good fruit, and every bad tree bears bad fruit. A good tree cannot bear bad fruit, and a bad tree cannot bear good fruit. So by their fruits you will know them. And there's something to saying that Christianity has created a culture that has so much goodness in it that many people want to live in it. So we should be glad that they not only are describing themselves as culturally Christians, but want to live in that type of society. Now, people have raised a lot of problems with this, and there are many problems with what they're saying. One is Christianity is not primarily based on a set of ideas or beliefs or practices. It's primarily based on a person and an encounter with that person. The ideas, the beliefs, the practices are important, but come secondary to the encounter with that person. I think what also makes this situation confusing is I don't think we live in a Christian culture anymore. I think we live in what's called a post-Christian culture. This doesn't mean anti-Christian culture. It means a culture that was once Christian, has a lot of elements of Christianity still left over, but is not Christian to its core. And as good as a Christian culture is, there are certain temptations that come along with it. One such temptation is that it's easier to have the ideas and the beliefs and the practices and miss the person. And I think that's the big temptation that we're seeing here. And ultimately, I think it's the fault of many Christians that Richard Dawkins and Elon Musk have gotten to this point. Too many Christians today, too many self-proclaimed Christians have the beliefs, have the ideas, have the practices with little to no relationship with Jesus Christ, with a very superficial relationship with Jesus Christ. And this shows people that it's okay to live a certain way and have certain beliefs and certain practices, and that the person is not important. And I think that's what many Christians give off by the way they live their lives. But everything flows from the relationship. The beliefs and practices are important. Unfortunately, so many Christians have no idea about basic Christian beliefs and practices and why we do them and what we do, but they come secondary to the relationship. And maybe just a little test for yourself. If I were to come up to you and ask you to tell me about Jesus Christ, would you be able to? Would you be able to tell me basic facts about his life, kind of the trajectory of his life, how it went, what he said, what he did? But more importantly, would you be able to talk to me about him in the same way you talked about one of your friends? To the point where it became obvious to me that Jesus was someone that you didn't just know about, but someone that you knew. And I think, in my experience, for so many self-proclaimed Christians today, Jesus is really just someone that they know about and someone that they don't actually know as a person in a personal relationship. So what should we think of all this talk about cultural Christianity? One, I think we need to recognize the goodness that a Christian culture creates and be glad that people want to live in a Christian culture. It's telling that people aren't arguing and wanting to go live in many different cultures, for example, in the Middle East. But we have to remember that the foundation of Christianity is a person and an encounter with that person. And then this should also be a wake-up call to any lukewarm Christian, any Christian who proclaims to have beliefs, ideas, practices, but has very little of a personal relationship with Jesus Christ that has nothing to do with Christianity. So as always, please subscribe to this video. You can stay up to date on our new videos. Please check out our website at culturallycatholic.org and consider donating on a monthly basis. It allows us to reach more people and be higher quality in all that we do. God bless.